Welcome back, True Seeker. It is January 4th, 2023, and going to talk about some of the top headlines. Talk about the Buffalo Sabres Major 3 tribute to Damar Hamlin, who, of course, wore the jersey number 3 for the Buffalo Bills. The Sabres are the hockey team. We'll also talk about Christian Eriksen, the European football player's claps in light of Damar Hamlin's. Talk about the death of the last surviving Apollo 7 astronaut, as well as the reported suicide of James Corley, known as Buster, in the name Dave and Buster's, dead at 72. Talk all about it. Last week we were talking about Franco Harris's death at 72. And again, we will bring up Ken Block's death. I have talked about it in a couple live streams, but he hasn't been in the thumbnail or the title, and a lot of people are still asking, so we'll revisit that again. And yes, it is Wednesday, and yes, TFR is on. And again, every Wednesday night, Truth Frequency Radio, we do stream the show on the YouTube channel. It's on GematriaEffectNews 25 right now. That show starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And anyhow, the Buffalo Sabres, yesterday on the 3rd of January, one day after number 3, Damar Hamlin reportedly injured, near-death experience Monday Night Football. Again, both pro sports teams in the city of Buffalo. But one day after, on the 3rd, the entire team wears number 3 T-shirts in support. And then the game ends with a player getting a hat trick, scoring 3 goals, and winning the game exactly 3 minutes into what's known as sudden death or overtime. And notice that player, Tage Thompson, who had the hat trick with the 3rd goal 3 minutes into overtime after wearing the 3 shirts on the 3rd. He also scored his 30th goal of the season. Of course, 30 in numerology. His 3 plus 0 is 3. But notice also that the surname Hamlin has that Gematria 30. And this game was in tribute to Damar Hamlin. Also, if you run the alphabetic order in reverse, both Thompson and Hamlin are number 33, like MNF's 33, like how the only player standing while everyone was kneeling was number 33, Neil. Neil was the only player who didn't kneel wearing the number 33. Of course, 33 is the rep digit of 3. And the game, this same game that was all about 3, it was won by a score of 5-4 over the Washington Capitals. 5-4. Notice how in Gematria, Tage Thompson, who had the hat trick, his name equals 54 forwards and backwards. And again, this is in tribute to the Bills player, Damar Hamlin. Bills also 54. And if you're new here, Gematria is just based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Z is 1 back to A is 26. And both orders using numerology. Notice how Buffalo Bills also has the Gematria 72. And again, all roads lead to Rome. The Jesuits who serve the Roman Catholic Church are the ones responsible for our language, our calendar, for these sports leagues, who control the rituals. Jesuit order 54 forwards and Jesuit order 54 forwards and 72 backwards. A pattern we see a lot. For example, the Apollo 7 astronaut, as we'll get to, he's dead 54 years after the mission, and he's dead 72 days before his upcoming birthday, so we'll talk about that next. But again, if you're new here, these numbers get paired a lot. All of these rituals are in tribute to time, which is dictated by the sun on the Gregorian calendar, and we're on that type of calendar because the Catholic Church, which began as a sun-worshiping cult, in Gematria, sun equals 54, and the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. So it's a big part of what those numbers are about. Keep in mind, this player also wears the number 72. The guy who had the hat trick, who scored his 30th goal, he's number 72. Tage Thompson, 54 forwards and backwards. And notice also that Tage Thompson is from the Phoenix area where the Super Bowl is going to be. Again, the ritual with Damar Hamlin perfectly synced with the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 57 this year. With just the alphabetic order, Hamlin's 57. When you use numerology, his name is 30. And when you run it in reverse, Hamlin's 105 like Arizona. Again, the Super Bowl is going to be in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Tage Thompson just happens to be from Phoenix, Arizona. Somebody left a comment, said he actually went to high school in Glendale. That's specifically where the Super Bowl stadium is. I'll have to verify if that's true or not. But again, Glendale's a suburb of Phoenix. When I was going to school down there at Arizona State, the Cardinals would play their games at the Sun Devil Stadium because the stadium was being built in Glendale. But anyhow, Christian Eriksen, the last football player who plays, what we call in the U.S. soccer, but the last football player to have a similar type of experience is what Damar Hamlin's now living out. That happened June 12th, 2021. And from that day to the Damar Hamlin collapse was a total span of 570 days. 570. Key digits 57. And again, a lot of people like last night, Tucker Carlson, his program was, well, it looks to me like Damar Hamlin might have collapsed from a vaccine injury. And, that's the cultural divide right now. Like only right-wing media will discuss those possibilities. Left-wing media just puts the blindfold on and says there's no way that's possible. And, of course, big tech, for talking about these things, they'll delete your video, your channel, give you a strike, suspend you so you can't post for weeks. And again, all I'm saying is we do know that a lot of people have collapsed in the time of the decade of vaccines, as Bill Gates calls it, and they haven't really gotten any attention in the media. So is Damar Hamlin, whose name sounds a lot like Hamlet, like theater, like Shakespeare, is this a tribute to what's been going on in the world? Don't forget the name Bill Gates equals 57, and he said something very curious at his 2010 TED Talk about how we can reduce the population. If you don't know what he said, again, go listen to the entire TED Talk. It's called Innovating to Zero. You won't miss it. It's early in the presentation. And for people who think these numbers are a joke, it's funny. I just had a guy leave a comment about how I'm clearly a schizophrenic. And I was like, is this a bot account? And then I click on his account and he plays guitar. In his latest video, he's playing a song called Wake Up. And then he comes to my video and calls me a schizophrenic. Probably has no idea that on May 7th, 2020, a lot of people in this community made a lot of money because I explained why the Moderna stock would blow up. The vaccine company, the new vaccine company at the time that was backed by Bill Gates, Mr. 57, and sure enough, it did blow up. And of course, we have a million other correct predictions about COVID and sports and news and elections. And anyone who's still calling this schizophrenic, that's what I had to deal with in 2013 when I first found it. It just shows you that there's just something about society and constantly calling people like myself schizophrenic. I had people calling me schizophrenic before I knew about Gematria for questioning 9/11. For questioning the attack of 9/11, people called me schizophrenic. That is like some kind of programming in society that when you go against the authority, when you go against common wisdom, which isn't wisdom at all, it's just the cultural training and programming, people will tend to call you schizophrenic. It's really interesting. And remember, there's also another quote out there about how really intelligent people seem crazy to really dumb people. And that's the real problem in America and a lot of the world. People are very dumb. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, okay, so this guy's not a bot. He plays the guitar and his latest upload is Wake Up. Then he comes to my channel and could have woke up and instead leaves a post about how I'm schizophrenic. By the way, for that same guy, if you come back here, you should go listen to the interview I did with Jeff Young last year. He actually did too, giving guitar lessons. If you don't know who Jeff Young is, he's a professional guitarist. You could learn a lot from this channel. Anyway, as we know, Damar Hamlin was born on the 83rd day of the year. In Gematria, football equals 83. So does Christian Eriksen, who the last collapse happened to. And don't forget, we just predicted last week why Pele would die on the 83 date numerology in his 83rd year of life. Exactly what happened. RIP. But 83 is also a fateful number. It's the murder number. It's why the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. Nobody's calling Sting schizophrenic. Again, that's the singer for The Police who did that song, where he brags about how he wrote the lyrics and how killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Also, the surname Eriksen alone, for the record, is 81 like ritual, like how Damar Hamlin collapsed 81 days before his birthday, and Bill's is also 81. And couldn't help but notice that Christian Eriksen wears number 14 for his Manchester team. Again, the Bills season's been all about 14 ever since the May 14th shooting with the 14 words on the gun. And again, Gematria, alphabetic order with the rules numerology. Notice how Hamlin overlaps with the jab. Again, if you're not looking at the screen, take a look at the screen, because it's not actually the jab, it's the word for it that Google hates. Again, Google is controlled by the same Jesuits. That's why they celebrate their birthday on September 27th, the day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history. But okay, we just went from Tage Thompson, Mr. 54, who wins the game 5-4, wearing 72, numbers that go with the Bills and the Jesuit order. And now here we are on to the Apollo 7 astronaut, who's dead 54 years after the mission and 72 days before his birthday. And he died at age 90, meaning he died in his 91st year of life, which is the 13th triangular number. And he died on January 3rd, 1-3, a lot like 13. And again, the moon has the 13-month cycle, known for that moon mission. And again, 13, very special to Masonry. All the astronauts to travel to space in NASA's history have been Masons. Of course, every alphabet that has an M, that's the letter used to start the word for Masonry. And M's the 13th letter of the English alphabet. But also, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. And again, Kayla just found out last week by reading about how there's 35 craters on the moon named after Jesuit priests. Again, Jesuitism equals 35, like Catholic, like Holy See, like NASA. Again, the Jesuit Order 201, Neil Alden Armstrong 201, the moon landing on the 201st day of 1969. I noticed also that his birthday is March 16th, which is the 75th day of the year. His name, Walter Cunningham, is 75. Like New World Order. Like the October 6, 1940 New York Times article, New World Order pledged to Jews on the 75 date numerology. And again, Israel will turn 75 this year. His full name, Ronnie Walter Cunningham, is also 114, like the word astronaut. So again, there might be a reason that he was chosen to play the parts. And if I'm not mistaken, that 1968 Apollo 7, that was the same one that read from Genesis on Christmas Eve. But again, all these deaths right around the new year, the nonsensical new year and the time of nature's death, winter, and again, the calendar most of the world was on before this was the one that said the new year came in the spring when everything was anew. So just realize at this time of death, all these ritualistic deaths celebrating the Catholic pagan New Year, according to them. All right, for more tragedies, today, January 4th, a lot of the headlines today, like CNN's covering it today. Today can be written 4/1. The news also did break yesterday, January 3rd, which can be written 1/3. Today can be written 4/1. Remember, Dallas equals 13 in Gematria and also 41. 13 and 41, where 41 is the 13th prime number. Dallas was established in 1841, but these stories breaking on January 3rd and today, depending on what news source you watch, but both days connected to Dallas, and Dallas is where Dave and Buster's is from. Again, we're always talking about the city of Dallas, 13 and 41, especially in the world of sports, but again, Dallas established in 1841, and look at what age he supposedly committed suicide at. 72. Jesuit order 72. James Buster Corley, 67, like blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice. They say he committed suicide on January 2nd, 1-2. The name James equals 12. Again, time, 12 hours in the morning, in the evening, 12 months in the year, 12 zodiac. I should say constellations. Or 12 signs in the zodiac, I suppose is the best way to say it. In addition to Jesuit order equaling 72 and 84, or 72, Jesuit equals 78 and 84, and his surname Corley equals 78 and 84. He is dead at 72, which means he's dead in his 73rd year of life. Ritual sacrifice and sacrifice 73. The day he died had 46 date numerology, and sacrifice equals 46. So his execution. The football game was stopped at 7-3. We talked about all the reasons why. But yeah, just so many suspicious suicides. And again, so many of these suicides just have to be questioned. You're talking about wealthy, successful people. Usually those aren't, life qualities that bring about suicidal tendencies. It's not to say it's impossible, but again, so many of these suicides, the rituals are so perfect. I couldn't find his birthday, so I couldn't measure from his birthday. That was the one element missing. But again, it's just the 72 Jesuit thing. And remember, the film Murder by Numbers was put out on the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola becoming the first superior general of the Jesuits. Okay, and then Ken Block, the DC Shoes co-founder, reportedly dead in a snowmobile accident. And 55 is an interesting number. It connects to Satan. It connects to blood sacrifice. Dying at 55 means you died in your 56th year of life. Society of Jesus 56, the formal title of the Jesuits. He died 42 days after his birthday. Freemason and Jesuit have the gematria 42, and Sumerian gematria DC equals 42. And again, DC is the Jesuit Masonic stronghold, as in Washington, D.C. So 42 days after his birthday. You could also say he died on his 43rd day of his age, killing an RIP or 43. So is New Year's. He's dead the day after New Year's. We talked about that a lot, that with the deaths of the drummers on New Year's. Drummers 43, Gangsta Boo at age 43. And then again, his name. Kenneth Paul Block has the gematria of 170 and 62, like sacrifice. And Ken Block has the 73. And he died on January 2nd, the date with 46 numerology. Remember, the drummer from Modest Mouse, he died 62 days before his 46th birthday, and his name equaled 73. So the very next day, very similar number pattern with Ken Block. And his name also has the 262 in it, like Faustian Bargain. It has the 28 and 44 in it, like Kill. You might notice Ken Block and DC Shoes are the exact same, and the two most standard ciphers, the ones we've been teaching from day one. And again, it's amazing how often the exact same numbers come together. And as a reminder, if you're new here, although this is biblical, 73 books in the Catholic Bible, the first book, Genesis 46, begins with a sacrifice. Again, Ken Block, 73, dead on the 46th date numerology, DC Shoes 73. DC Shoes also has the 35 in it. The word Satan has the gematria 35 and 55. Baphomet, the satanic statues, also got the 35. I'm not saying DC Shoes are satanic. When I was growing up, they were shoes skateboarders liked, along with Vans. But anyhow, the rituals certainly are. And, with regards to the whole Satan thing, he in almost all the images of him, he's wearing the monster hat, which I suppose is the sponsor for his race company. Remember, the monster logo is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet 3 times. So it's kind of like 666, number of the beast, which you learn about in the 73rd book of the Catholic Bible. And again, ties in with Satan and him dying at 55. If you write out blood sacrifice, it has gematria 257, which is the 55th prime number. But yeah, I think that's it for now. We'll keep it short and sweet because we got TFR tonight. Again, 3 hours every Wednesday night. Show starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And I am really looking forward to Rambo's decode tonight. I'm sure he's going to take it to the next level. He'll be talking. If I can see the future, well, if I am right, people won't give me credit because I'll think you guys. If you don't know, Rambo and I never. I don't know. Rambo and I might have talked one time outside of TFR, but I just know Rambo's going to call in every Wednesday night with a beautiful decode, and that's why I give him the time slot every week on TFR. But Rambo and I, we did meet when we went out to New York this year. But Rambo and I don't really have a relationship outside of TFR. But if I just have to see the future of what Rambo's talking about, he's going to be talking more about the Spider and Queen with what they did with Donovan Mitchell. And, of course, Damar Hamlin and the kneeling ritual of Hiram Abiff, totally Masonic. And again, if I'm not mistaken about the Hiram Abiff story, isn't it the 3 ruffians who killed him? Like how Damar Hamlin's number 3 And again, if you don't know about the Masons, look up their kneeling ritual with Hiram Abiff. Again, Hiram Abiff, he kept the 3 Masonic secrets, which are for the 3 degrees of the Blue Lodge. And because he didn't give up the secrets, the 3 ruffians killed him. And that's why the Masons do the kneeling ritual in tribute. So I'm sure Rambo's going to bring in those elements, but he'll take it to a whole new level. He'll probably bring in the astrological piece that ties in. And I'm looking forward to all of it. So anyhow, tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And actually, hold on. I need to say thank you. There were some. I thought I saw all the super chats yesterday, but then I realized there were more when I got off, and then I felt bad about not saying thank you. So let me say thank you to those people right now in case they're out there. Okay, Eric Meller chipped in yesterday with $20. I appreciate it. Disambiguation Nathan chipped in 10. Pointed out that January 2nd was National Science Fiction Day with all the big whopper stories. Eric Meller chipped in another 5 in that stream. Truth Slade chipped in $10. No Tricks chipped in 50, which was a tip because he said, thank you for the Warriors pick last night. I took advantage live betting and got great odds. Yeah, the Warriors got to 17-2, which is a very special number to the Jesuits. They got to 17-2 at home. Stephen Curry equals 172, for example, but it's no accident that Jordan's birthday is the 17th day of the 2nd month. It's the Jesuit motto, Admerum Dei Gloriam. You learn these things, and you can capitalize in a lot of ways, including in rig sports. Because when you know the code and who's running the show, which are the things that we've identified to a certainty, again, you can take advantage of the rigged rituals. You know, if you knew that Tage Thompson already had 2 goals and it was all about 3, and in overtime he could win the game 5-4. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you're looking for in real-time betting. I'm guessing Luxie was all over it. Luxie's a decoder in the community who focuses on hockey, who does great work, and who's helped spread the knowledge in a very wonderful way. So again, you guys, all pro sports are rigged and scripted. All leagues are connected, and all rituals are executed through the same knowledge, through the same patterns, day after day. All you need is this little simple code, and you can capitalize. So, all right, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Thanks again, and see you on TFR tonight. Oh, hold on. Somebody said make the connection. Before I get off, I was about to get off, but somebody said make the connection between J.J. Watt and Damar Hamlin. Now, I didn't realize this, but did J.J. Watt have a heart attack? He recently retired, and we know what else they've done with J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, thankful to be playing after having heart shot back into rhythm. Well, that's interesting that happened on 10-3, right? Because now we're having this big ritual in the 103rd NFL season. Well, actually, that was during the 103rd NFL season, October 3rd, 2022. Hold on. J.J. Watt and his wife, Kelia, have spent the past few months looking at ultrasounds of their unborn son. They never thought they'd be looking at pictures of Watt's own heart. It's been a week. So, okay, maybe this didn't happen on October 3rd, but the AP article on the update was on 10-3 during the 103rd NFL season. And by the way, this Hamlin guy, I know he plays for the Bills, but he might as well be a Pittsburgh Steeler. He's tightly connected with that organization. Mike Tomlin's known him since he was 12 years old. His business manager is one of the part owners of the Steelers. Of course, he's from Pittsburgh. But remember, Steelers is 103. RIP to Franco Harris, dead 103 days after the 103rd season began. Okay, so it happened in the Panthers' 26-16 game. Let's go back and look at that real quick, what day that was. Cardinals, box score, Panthers, 26-16. Okay, so it was the day before. So it happened on October 2nd. Then on October 3rd, 10-3, AP's got the story about it in the 103rd NFL season. All right, so hold on. October 2nd. If I'm not mistaken, that's the day leaving 90 days left in the year. So, should be what, 92 days later? So 92 days later, or a total span of 93 days. You know, we had the caller, Topsy Kretz. He pointed out the significance of the ritual happening 9 minutes and 2 seconds into the quarter. J.J. Watt's playing for Arizona, the Cardinals who host the Super Bowl. Notice the 13 weeks in one day. Again, 131's the championship number, like on the TCU upset of Michigan. Both teams became 13-1. We're talking about the same patterns every year. Championship 131. Super Bowl's also 131. The Damar Hamlin ritual was 41 days before the Super Bowl. Keep in mind, Glendale's on the 112th Meridian West, and Damar Hamlin equals 49, like Super Bowl as well. Okay, so it's 92 days later. It's 3 months later, right? It's 3 months later, number 3, where we started with the Tage Thompson 3 ritual on the 3rd with his hat trick, 3 minutes into overtime or sudden death. So 3 months later, number 3. If you count the span of days, it becomes a span of 93 days, which is the Saturn number. Saturn's the keeper of time. We're in the time of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. J.J. Watt, electricity. When your heart stops, its electrical connections off. We know J.J. Watt and Sean Watson wanted out of Houston when the town froze over. The same week, Beyonce from Houston put out her Icy Park clothing line. And please don't be the next person to say, the clothing line is called Ivy Park. Yeah, but she put out a line that week called Icy Park. And not to mention, we predicted why you would see power outages and crazy weather causing the power outages on the day it happened, Valentine's Day, long before it had happened. Shout out to Public Enemy for putting out their album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, with Arizona as the cover artwork when it's the Valentine's State. Yeah, I'm sure there's even more to this. I'm sure there's even more to it. 42 points in that game. You know, we were just talking about Hamlin's connection to here. Look at the other word, the V word. It has the 57-30 connection like Hamlin. It's also got the 42, like Arizona. Again, J.J. Watt's playing for the Arizona Cardinals. The V word also has the 132. If you count the span, it becomes 13 weeks and 2 days is the span. So let me go back and look at how this. I didn't realize this happened to J.J. Watt earlier this year. I totally missed this story, and he just announced he was retiring just days before this happened. Again, J.J. Watt does have that 322 birthday. This will be the year that Yale turns 322 years old, established in 1701, home of Skull and Bones 322. He's 33 years old right now, like Hamlin's 33. That's the 81st day of the year. He's born 2 days before Hamlin. Well, he's born a year and 2 days. Again, Hamlin's birthday is March 24th. So he's born on the 81st day of the year. Ritual Bills 81. Let's go back and check. From his last birthday to when it happened was 194 days. That means it was 171 days before his upcoming birthday, which is the 18th triangular number. 24 weeks and 3 days, kind of like Hamlin's birthday on the 24th day of the 3rd month. But 171 is the 18th triangular number. Bills has that 18 gematria, as does Sun, as does IHS, the letters in the Jesuit logo that is the sun. Again, the Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish. 18 represents the meaning of life in Judaism. That's why in our arbitrary number system where numbers are assigned to meaning that we just go along with from the authorities, 18 is when they say you're an adult. It's like you look at 18-year-olds when you get older, it's like they don't look like an adult to me. They look like a little itty-bitty know-nothing. Who decided 18's an adult? Then again, some 18-year-olds are light years ahead of people who are 80 years old. So again, you can't really assign numbers to things and say, that's when you're this. When I was 18, I'll tell you what, I was about 1 million times more advanced than 95% of the adults in this country. That's when 9/11 happened for me, and I was not fooled by it for 1 second. I thought, man, people must be some kind of special stupid to not see through this obvious ritual. And here we are now with Damar Hamlin. And nothing's changed. Anyway, I'll think more about the JJ Watt thing. But Top Secrets did have the really good observation with 92 and it happening 9 minutes and 2 seconds into the quarter. So that number is the reflection of 29, which is a football number. Ohio and football are 29. JJ Watt's from Wisconsin. Yeah, I'll think about it more, but it's probably not an accident that JJ Watt's playing for the Cardinals, where the Super Bowl is. Now the Hamlin ritual's synced up. And again, this hockey player, I mean, he's also from Phoenix, Arizona, where the Super Bowl is going to be performing the perfect ritual. So, you know what? Something I didn't decode was Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo Sabres. But keep in mind, Buffalo, of course, is 27 like ritual. And that guy came into the game with 27 goals, had a hat trick to get to 30. Buffalo Sabres is 46. The thing with Hamlin happened on the 46th day numerology. There is more to say about these other numbers here, but just in terms of what fits in with Hamlin. Yeah, I think it's mostly what we did cover. So they couldn't have scripted it any better. All right, you guys, I got to just do some work, make dinner, and then be back in time for TFR. So Lane's got a good thought. Whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. Lane's right that the Clippers used to be the Buffalo Braves back in the day. Yeah, that's a good point. Where the Clippers somehow pay tribute. See, back in the day, the Clippers were the Buffalo Braves. So, yeah, good thought, Lane. Let's see. What could they do this week to pay tribute? They didn't play the Clippers lost to Miami the night of the ritual. They picked up their 18th loss that night. Bills 18. The Heat stayed on 18 losses. So that probably is part of the ritual. The fact that they got their 18th loss. We know why they stayed on 21 wins on a Monday moon day. But yeah, so the team that's from Buffalo, the NBA team, the Clippers, originally the Buffalo Braves, picked up their 18th loss as the Heat stayed on 18 losses. That could just be the ritual right there. But yeah, you might want to think a little bit more in case there's more rituals to come with the Clippers. But I do see the day of the loss number made sense. Yeah, I'll think more about that narrative. But yeah, that's a good thought. All right, True Seeker. Till next time.